Welcome back, Hodlers. Today we are talking about DeFi and what DeFi is. But first, to understand DeFi, you need to understand exactly what banks do with your money that you deposit into a bank. So centralized finance products like mutual funds, ETFs, bonds, and other saving structures are what we would call centralized finance because they're regulated by a central body. Now, when you deposit your money into a bank, typically what your bank will do is they'll loan out that money and earn a yield off that money. Now, our banking structure is a little bit more complex from that because they're actually borrowing out your money without having a reserve. So they only have to keep a specific amount to say that that's a reserve of the full amount of the loan. Now, the traditional finance system is extremely complex and it's made that way for a reason. But with DeFi, essentially what it does is it boils down all those products into individual things that you can personally invest in. It's more of a directed way to get these financial services that maybe your bank or financial institution would provide. So for example, one centralized body in blockchain is Celsius. Celsius is an app that takes our user deposits and earns a yield off those deposits. This is what we would call centralized finance. Because they're going out, they're seeking the customers, they're making sure that our funds are making a yield so they can pay us back in interest. But again, this is a centralized option. With DeFi, it really lets you take your own direction in your finance. Now, on blockchains like Ethereum, like Polkadot, there are what's called dApps, and these dApps usually organize some form of decentralized finance. A decentralized finance can come in many different forms. It can come to a peer-to-peer loan. It could come to liquidity pools where you're providing funds and putting it into a liquidity pool for people to trade with. There are also things like initial legal offerings where you can actually put money down on a litigation that you think is going to win. There's crowd loaning, peer-to-peer loan structures, and a slew of other yield farming tactics. You can stake a lot of your tokens, and oftentimes when you're making a yield on certain platforms, you're able to make a much bigger yield than what a central body can offer you. Think of your high interest savings rates, earning maybe 1% on a savings account. Well, here in most DeFi strategies, you can earn well over upwards to 10, 20, even 30% on some of your cryptocurrencies. Especially if you're looking at something like Bitcoin, you can still earn a yield on Bitcoin. You can provide Bitcoin as liquidity on a liquidity pool. You can earn interest on Bitcoin on a number of different lending platforms like Aave. And there are a slew of other ways where you can earn a yield on your cryptocurrency. The big one that you hear a lot about today is decentralized exchanges, and there are many decentralized exchanges to experiment with. Some are going to give you a higher yield than others. Often the higher yield is just organized with how small the user base is for the platform. So if there's a smaller user base, typically they'll offer higher yields to incentivize more people to offer liquidity, stake in their pools, and fund into their system. Now you guys know that I'm not a maximalist of any token. That includes DeFi. I'm not a maximalist of any DeFi platform. If it's a good platform, if it's fast, and it's cheap to use, I'm definitely going to be using it to earn a yield. One big platform that I'm super excited about is PokeSwap. I've been using this platform a lot. I provide both the Val and Zor pair and the Zor PSwap pair to earn a liquidity on my tokens. Now, all my rewards are vested and locked up until I'm able to retrieve the rewards from the system, but I'm making an average of 230% yield on my liquidity pairs. If you think about DeFi, how you think of the internet before, it was super complex, super hard to get into. It wasn't user friendly. It was really hard to organize anything on the internet. Well, eventually we got to the point where you can do literally anything on the internet, no matter what your skill base was. Eventually, these technologies are going to become easier to use. So it's okay if you don't understand it right now. It's okay if you feel scared to get involved. But my best advice here for decentralized finance would be to get involved as early as possible. That way, when everything is more fleshed out, you're one of the new early adopters. And being an early adopter is going to be extremely powerful for your financial future. Hopefully you guys like this video. This is more about decentralized finance, what DeFi is. We'll be discussing exact guides over the next week or so. And I will be off next week, so videos will be a little sporadic. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. And happy hodling.